Ennis and Syracuse are part of the Canadian invasion to college basketball we've seen here in the States here in recent years. And with that, we welcome you into CI Live. You've got two red-blooded Americans here, Jordan Cornette. I am Ray Crawford. Also joining us, Matt Park, our Syracuse insider, and from USA Today, Dan Wolken. And Matt, we all knew Ennis had the tools to play and to step in right away there at Syracuse and take over for Michael Carter-Williams. So the question to you, between the two, which would be better, which is better at leading the Orange?
Well, they've both been great. Obviously, Michael Carter-Williams was a key factor in Syracuse getting to the Final Four last year, and Ennis hopes to get them there again. And Michael's having a Rookie of the Year caliber season in the NBA. I would say the difference is, and the reason you might lean toward Ennis a little bit, is he is a guy who makes the solid play. It might be a Marianne and Ginger type thing, right? If you Carter-Williams was flashy, had more assists, but also threw one into the cheerleaders once in a while. And Ennis is a better shooter, much better ball handler, leader, and right now he's a perfect fit for what this team wants.
Yeah, you know, I agree with you, Matt. I'd take Ennis the Menace as well. And when comparing the two between him and MCW, the shot selection, the decision-making is better. He is a better shooter, like you mentioned, but I think he also does a better job of allowing the guys around him to be stars. Guys like C.J. Fair. How about the growth and maturation of Trevor Cooney, the outside threat? You know, when I look at this kid, he's steady, and that's what you need on that Syracuse team. Think back to another steady point guard who led them to a national championship, G-Mac. Jerry McNamara, that guy hasn't bought a drink out there in Syracuse, New York in a long time, and rightfully so.
Pretty impressive performance and start to his career as well, with 28 points in just his sixth collegiate game. And Dan, previously Canada has never been seen as a real hotbed for college prospects. So what has happened to cause Canadian players to have such an influence here in the U.S.?
I don't think it's that complicated. All of these guys were born in the mid-'90s. And that is exactly when David Stern decided to expand the NBA to Canada, put a team in Vancouver, and put a team in Toronto. So as these guys were growing up in and around, most of them from the Toronto metro area, the NBA was a big deal. It was new. It was exciting. You had guys like Damon Stoudemire, Vince Carter, were big superstars. And that filtered down to the grassroots level. It changed the mentality in a major metropolitan area that was all hockey and really got basketball in the door there. And now the development structure in the Toronto metro area looks a lot more like New York and Chicago, with multiple AAU programs and guys who are very adept at getting and placing these talented players at prep schools in the U.S. and in U.S. colleges.
Dan, one of my broadcast partners is Leo Routens, who's one of the prime Canadian basketball imports, one of the early ones. He said that when he was on the Canadian national team at age 16 out of Toronto back in the mid to late 70s, that he felt like a freak, that he was more into basketball than hockey. And now he's worked for the Raptors all that time and has been the Canadian national team coach. And that's certainly changing now. It's a little more socially acceptable for these guys to be into hoops.
You know, you guys all make great points. I think another interesting facet is I don't think the recruiting battles are as fierce. I think people are looking elsewhere to undiscovered territory to find true talent, and a lot of that's coming from north of the border. I think you look at the rosters now, 97 kids on Division I rosters. Out of those 97, a good percentage of them are having incredible impacts for their teams. Most impressive to me when you watch the Canadian basketball player, not to stereotype, but offensively, all of their skill sets are superior. These kids have come out, a lot of them averaging, putting up high numbers, a lot of them impacting the game on the offensive side. Their skill set, very high.
Well, let's not say that these guys are undiscovered gems. Certainly some are. Gonzaga's gotten some unheralded guys out of Canada. But the big names that have sort of elevated Canadian basketball, Tristan Thompson, Corey Joseph, Andrew Wiggins, these guys were all very high-profile recruits. Anthony Bennett is another one, and they played on the summer circuit. Roe Russell started Grassroots Canada, an AAU program, and became one of the most powerful AAU programs in North America. So these guys were all very much seen, very much in the mix by college coaches, and were all rated appropriately.
All right, guys, let's get back to Syracuse now, an undefeated team. And nobody's really talking yet anyway about the 04 St. Joe's team, the last time a team won out during the regular season here. So, Matt, as you look at the schedule, when do you think the first loss will happen?
Well, I think if you're looking for a team to go unbeaten all the way, Wichita State would be a better pick. Syracuse plays just in too tough a league for that to happen. Miami's already played them tough, and that game's on the road this Saturday. But my pick would be February 12th at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh always plays Syracuse tough. It's awfully hard to win there.
Dan?
Yeah, I look at Duke. They've not played. They've not been in the same conference as Duke until this year. Duke's going to go to the Carrier Dome in a couple weeks. I like their three-point shooting. That's one of the things Duke is doing very well. One of the few things they're doing at an elite level right now. Maybe they can get something done against that zone. At some point, Syracuse is going to lose. It happens to everybody. Duke is going to really need that win. They've had a couple losses, so I'm going to go with February 1st against Duke.
I just don't foresee Duke coming into the Carrier Dome and getting that win. I don't think they have the guys that are ready for that big of a moment. I have to agree with Matt on this one, and I've said it for about a month now, before Pittsburgh was really making that noise that they are as we stand today. I think going into the Peterson Civic Center, where Pittsburgh plays great basketball, I think that's where the 23-game win streak ends. I love what Pitt did up there in the Carrier Dome, beating them on the backboard. They just shot horrendously from the field. I believe those percentages are better at home, and I think that's what propels them to that win. That's where the upset happens. And to be honest, I don't even think they're going to consider it an upset. I think a lot of people are marking that one down for when Syracuse gets that first blemish.
Clock continues to tick for the Orange. All right, Matt and Dan, thanks very much. We appreciate it as always.
Thanks, guys.